Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Infinity, episode number 35, recorded March 19th, 2014. I am one of your two hosts. I am the Oompa Loompa known as Will. You might, if you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, you are missing out because I might look a little bit different. With that being said, I look like an Australian, although Jason doesn't look like this. Jason, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing really well. Just undercover, not in the sun, just protecting my skin.
Good for you. You don't want to come out looking like a fool. So, as you can see, I've been tanning. I'm getting ready for my wedding and those pictures, and I had to, hit it hard because I'm not going to be able to do that while I'm out there. So, yeah, that's why I look funny, and I can't wait to hear the responses from some of our favorite friends and co-hosts out there in internet land. All right, let's go and get things started. Everyone in the chat room, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's not our normal night. As I said, I'm getting ready for a big event in my life, and so life has been busy, and Jason was kind enough to push his schedule around this week. And so, yeah, that's why we're doing the show on a Wednesday instead of a Monday. Oh, Travis says I look orange. Thank you, Travis. I look like that episode of Ross or that episode of Friends with Ross. So anyway, yeah, let's focus. I'm distracted. Are you enjoying this, Jason?
Yeah, that's cool.
How are you doing this Wednesday?
Gee, feels strange having such a late show in the week, but I guess it's been a pretty uneventful week, which is good, unlike you, which has been super eventful.
Yes, very much so. That's all right. You're holding the fort down, and yeah, making sure things move along smoothly.
That's all
if
right.
you if you want to check us out live every week and see awesome, embarrassing moments like this, you can do so generally on Monday evenings, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And you can go to InsideDisneyInfinity.com and you can chat with us and, yeah, join in on the show. Tonight's show is a light one, so we hope the chat room really contributes and gives us their thoughts because we have some fun topics to discuss later. We also have some news and announcements that we can't wait to tell you right before the end of the show. So make sure you stick it out with us and follow along throughout the entirety of the show so you can hear those awesome news. So our good friend Travis from Vinylmation Kingdom was supposed to be here with us tonight, but unfortunately we were having some technical difficulties before show start, and he was not able to make it. So Travis, we see you in the chat room. Welcome, and sorry you can't chat, but you are here with us in spirit. With that, Jason, let's get along with the news. How's that sound?
That sounds just perfect.
Does that sound good? Good. Well, we only have two items, actually one item really, news item. So Phineas and Ferb is finally available this week, or this last week, depending on how you look at it, here in the States at GameStop. So from March 15th through March 31st, you can get Phineas and Ferb at GameStop. They have the early retailer exclusive for them, and that is, as far as we know, the last regular series of figures that are coming out. So the set's almost finally complete.
And does that mean that was it the discs on the same day the Series 3 discs come out?
No, that's supposed to be April 3rd is when the Series 3 disc comes out. So I guess our set isn't complete.
And we've still got a mystery crystal, do we not?
Yes, it does look like that has been confirmed by a few folks. Some of which were the folks at Vinylmation Kingdom. It is going to be Buzz Lightyear, so it's not. It doesn't look like we're getting a glow Buzz or anything like that. It looks like we're just getting a standalone crystal Buzz.
That doesn't make. Isn't there still an open spot in the Hall of Heroes?
Yes, there is, but we don't know. That may be nothing. That could be something. Travis is saying Crystal Agent P, so I don't know if that's the spot you're referring to or not.
Oh, maybe it is. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I've been in the Hall of Heroes. I'll be honest.
Well, it's also it's buggy, so it's hard to really figure out what is supposed to be there and what isn't.
Yeah.
So cool. So yeah, have you guys gotten Phineas and Agent P yet, or is that right? No, I don't know
Uh,
these two. I
no,
think that's it.
it's down the track. It's like I think I just looked before. I can't remember the date, but it must be 4th of next month, I guess. So
Okay.
another week or so, I guess.
Is that when you're supposed to get the Series 3 disc, or have
Yeah,
those
I
been
believe we
announced?
get Series 3 disc at the same time as those last figures.
Okay, cool.
I believe.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited to continue my unpackaged. Although I need to now that I can just use the codes for my Toy Box app and stuff. I need to
Yeah.
start opening these bad boys, but I don't know. I kind of like my shrine of Disney Infinity. That's also fun. Cool. All right. Well, that is really the only legit news we have, but we do have something else we want to mention this week. So, Travis, excuse me, Pirate Steve was supposed to be on last week's show, but because we had to move last week's show around, he wasn't able to make it. But I did want to mention something. He's a good friend of the show, and I wanted to wish him, Jason and I, we wanted to wish him a very happy birthday. His birthday was last week, March 12th, and I don't know how old he is. He acts like he's like 10, but he looks like he's 80. So happy birthday to you, Pirate Steven. And to celebrate, he actually had something pretty cool over at the Disney Infinity Fans Forum. They interviewed him as one of the Toy Box artists. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring that up here so you fine folks in the chat can see it. I lied. I'm going to queue it up and get that for you. So yeah, Pirate Steven was interviewed, like so many Toy Box artists are, on the Disney Infinity Fans Forum, and it was just an awesome read. He's obviously a friend of the show, but even if you don't know who Pirate is, it's a great read to kind of see what the process is like to make to become a toy box artist, and each artist kind of has their own way of doing things. And it was really interesting reading Pirates. That's him with John Vignacchi, as we've seen before. He talks about his favorite playset, who his favorite Disney Infinity characters are. We all know Pirate, and he loves those villains, so he likes anything that is villain related. He goes through kind of his process, and it's really cool. So he has an idea phase where he just brainstorms. Then he starts to visualize it, put it down on paper, and then after that he begins to list it out, kind of like as a checklist format, and then he throws it into gameplay, and then just starts building. It's really kind of interesting to read up on that. And along with the congratulations for his birthday, I also want to tell him congratulations for hitting a home run in softball. And to figure out what the heck I'm talking about with that, make sure you go check out this article. I'll post the link in the chat room, but it's also going to be in the show notes, so make sure you check that out to read all about Pirate and what he has done to become a Toy Box Artist winner. He's been kind of keeping me in the loop, Jason. He's working on two challenges currently. He is working on the Pranks Challenge, which is going to be next week, and then he's also working on a Gravity Falls one. So I don't know. That might be hush hush and secret, but he's sent me a few pics, and it's looking pretty awesome. I'm going to give you a hint. There's a rainbow used in a very creative manner. I'll just put it that way.
What a great tease. We look forward to it, I guess.
Yep, I can't wait to hear. Hopefully, he wins one of those, and you can review them. He has won twice already. He has won the what's it called? It's not the parade, but it was one of the Disney Parks Challenge. The
Yes, yeah, he
Fantasmic.
did the Phantasmic one. I think that was his first win, I believe, wasn't it?
Yep, it was his first one, and
And then
then
the Ursula track.
yeah, the Ursula track, he wrote in again. I know we mentioned it last time, but Disney had to resave it because they had to actually rename it. Two of the Toy Box winners had the exact same name, so his was changed. Instead of Ursula's Revenge, it was changed to Ursula's Race, and that resave kind of messed a few things up, but it's still very much playable. So It's Time Chicken is saying the Gravity Falls one is the prank one, so maybe those are one and the same. My mistake. I thought they were I thought they were two separate ones. Travis is questioning the rainbow used in a creative way.
He's clearly a pro artist now, and he's committed to his art, and this is all he'll do for the rest of his days now.
Well, it's awesome. It's been really cool to kind of watch the process for him because he once thought that he would never be able to be a toy box winner and didn't think he had the skills or patience to actually do that. And he's proved himself. He's on that long list of consistent winners. So cool. All right, Jason. Well, that's all we got, my friend. Do you want to just to
Good night.
discuss? Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. No, we have some more stuff
I'll
to talk
mention the
about.
top five toy boxes, though it's a bit confusing because, as we discussed, technically the Muppets Challenge winners were announced like hours before, like as of the time I was doing last week's, which was the Arcade Challenge. So, but this week I'm just going to mention the arcade ones and then we'll continue as normal moving on, although it might be a little bit different for the next 2 weeks as we'll discuss later. But um, end of the day, today I reviewed just moments before the show the arcade winners. And again, check out that video. We had no sound issues this week, so you can check that out. I mentioned my idea that I wanted to do for this challenge, which I never ever even got a chance to even do, but it's in there if anyone's interested of my idea what I would have done for the arcade challenge.
Ooh.
But full props for Puppet Echo with the number one winner, which was the clear front runner for just an amazing, amazing toy box. As usual with the patented Puppet Echo detail.
I loved Papa Echoes. They were all great. I really enjoyed a lot of these. It's funny we had a few similar toy boxes in the form of Hero's Duty, but they were both different in their own right. And so it's funny to see these toy boxes that come out similarly or at least have similar ideas. But yeah, Papa Echoes this week was again phenomenal. He had what? How many different arcade games
I
in
think there
his?
was 3 arcade games
Yeah.
and then the secret Tron entrance.
So you'll have to. Do you mind telling me about that? Because I was playing on the iPad and I could not figure that out.
What do you mean? You couldn't?
Share.
There was a door behind the Tron machine.
Well, I
You couldn't see that?
see that. No, I'll be honest. The reason is because I did each one of the games, and then on the last game, I got stuck on. I found a bug on the iPad, by the way, and this is something good I should mention. So on the iPad, to get out of a certain camera view, you have to click on the. There's a specific button that is to edit the toy box. Well, I don't know if I didn't have something unlocked that he used in this toy box or what. Although I normally get an error when that happens, I did not have the paintbrush to edit, and the paintbrush just so happens to be the same button in the iPad that takes you back to the normal view. And so my last arcade game that I played, I think it was the Frogger one was the last one I played. I got stuck in the top-down view, and I couldn't get out of it, and I accidentally teleported. So I was in the top-down view of just the Frogger world, and my character was someplace else. He must have been in Flynn's arcade. So my program was literally lost.
I also
And
got stuck in the Donkey Kong level. I had to restart because I wanted to see what he'd done with the Tron. But yeah, that was amazing because you go through the door in the Tron. It was just really cool. It had the table bench thing there, and it had like a laser type thing sitting there, and then you teleported into and there was like a Tron racetrack type thing where you teleported to, and that's I don't if there was any more than that I missed it, but just again an amazing amount of detail. Like those like the actual arcade cabinets themselves were just so good.
it was awesome. I love how it said Tron in there. Uh,
Yeah.
I loved how talk about foyer. You love those. You love the
Oh,
entrances and the fact that you start outside of Flynn's arcade and you have to actually
yeah.
walk into Flynn's arcade.
Oh yeah, no, it was top notch. As I said, the other ones were really good. Although technically, the Birdie Blitz, the Flappy Bird clone, is that really arcade? I'm not sure. If it was an iPhone, I don't know if you call an arcade game on an iPhone.
I
Um,
mean, if you want to be a stickler, I guess you could be right.
Good on them though for riding the coattails of the
They,
modern
it's,
culture.
it's turned into pop culture.
That's it, pop culture. That's what I wanted to say. Um, but I was kind of a little bit disappointed. I was hoping to see a Pac-Man clone, something of that magnitude. Because I don't think, I mean,
Yeah,
to me, Pac-Man is the very definition of arcade.
I think that'd be difficult to do because the enemy AI is relatively. I mean,
Yeah,
your
but
paths are marching orders.
I think it would have been cool just to have a maze with the collectible, things laid out throughout the maze, so that it just feels like you're running in a maze with a fixed top-down view, collecting whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
That's a good idea.
there's some collectors you can put down, yeah, and just put a couple of random enemies that are just randomly walking the maze. I think that would have been kind of cool.
I forget what they call, but you could have put down those the spark generators and have those be like the little dots that you eat.
Yeah, totally.
That would be
But
cool. I like it.
anyways,
See, you should have entered, Jason.
yes, well, next time, gadget, as I like to say. um,
Time Force
anyways,
in the chat room is saying that I got derezzed in my toy box, and that's why uh, I couldn't get back.
but yes, well, what's Papa Echo up to now? I feel like is there someone tallying these things? I mean, he's got to have 4 or 5 of these things under his belt at least.
Yeah, Pirate's the one who normally keeps track of that. I don't know how many he has, but he has a lot.
Oh, and special mention, go check out It's Time Chicken. I did a bonus review of his level. He was obviously didn't make the top 5, but he was watching live, and so he invited me, and I joined in, and he made a really cool, um, like racer type arcade with a whole menu system, and it was really cool. So you can
Yep.
check that out as a bonus segment at the end of my live review this week.
That's awesome. It's Time Chicken is in the chat room. So yeah,
And I've promised him I
that's.
won't be reviewing because he's got a winning toy box this week. So
Oh,
for the Muppet Challenge, so I promised him I wouldn't review it until he enters the chat room. So
nice, nice. It's awesome. It's Time Chicken is saying Papa Echo has 9 wins. Wow,
wow,
that's a
there
lot.
you go. Yeah, that's impressive. That's
That-
yeah. You deserve more than just praise, my friend. You deserve a job.
I guess there's a stat forum on the Infinity Fans forum.
Cool,
So,
cool.
well, awesome. Is that
Yes,
it for your Toy Box weekly update?
I believe so. As I said, Muppets will be next week. Yes, no, no, yes, yeah, the Muppets. Yes, we
Yep.
know that. And then it's the Pranks Challenge after that,
Yes.
which
For
I'm
April Fools.
totally unexcited for. So, but every time I've always never been excited for a Toy Box Challenge. They've always surprised me and they've been fun. So,
Yeah. And I mean, if it's anything like the MU playset, that was actually it was more fun than I expected it to be, although it wasn't my favorite. I'm sure there will be some fun, interesting things there.
I think I like it if it's a lot of cool people, with just like literally just like these, like the demo they gave, where it's sort of like just these ever linking traps type thing that
Mhm.
just sets off this, lasting destruction derby type thing on yourself. That'd be pretty cool.
What are those? I don't know if this would constitute a prank challenge, but what's those? I can't think of the name of, but the machines that they have, the machines that do a very simple task, but it's a complicated process to get it there. Do you know
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Not
I know
Turing
what you're doing.
machine.
Yeah, we've talked about these before on the show. Gosh, you think we'd smart enough here? Actually, write down
Yeah.
this stuff.
The
It's not
chat
on
room
the
will
chat
let us
room.
know pretty soon.
Where is it? The yeah, something machine. Yep.
Sinister Center Customs. That is good, my friend. He or she is saying, "Dang, just listening to you guys talk makes me want to start playing again." You should do that. You should continue to play Disney Infinity, especially with all these new challenges, or yeah, toy box challenges each week. Hey, speaking of the man himself, Mr. Nine Winner, Papa Echo joined the chat room. Hello, Papa Echo. It's weird calling him Papa.
It's a bit.
I'm going to say the whole thing. I'm not going to break that up. Cool. Well, I can't wait to see the Muppet ones. Like you said, they are out now, so you can download them. But Jason's going to review them next week for a few
Yeah,
reasons that we will explain. So.
yeah,
Well, with that, folks, that's really all the main topics we have this week. We're going to continue our DI2 conversation now. We are going to first talk about we're going to finish our conversation from the last episode, and then we are going to actually talk about something new. I posted this in tweet form the last week looking for questions. So folks in the chat room, please feel free to give us your ideas. So the second part of our talk tonight is going to be about the kind of the starting, let's just say, for lack of a better term, the tutorial of the toy box. And if you have something to say about a playset, please feel free to let us know about that as well. But the playsets are a lot more straightforward than I feel like the toy box is, and a lot of the toys in the toy box. So the second part of our conversation tonight is going to be about how can we improve the tutorial of the toy box. But before we get to that, Jason and I are going to continue our disc conversation from last week. We had a few last minute things we didn't have a chance to talk about last week, so we're gonna start with that. So
yeah. And just to briefly recap from memory what we discussed last week. Primarily, it's just to get my idea on tape again, so that if the powers that be hear it come forth. Is that I was discussing the hope that we could move to or add a card-based system that would allow for artists to give us impressions of how they would design box art if these in-game accessories and playsets and so on were actual real world toy, and we would have on the front side the front of the box, on the back obviously what would be on the back of a box explaining what this thing does that you're purchasing and information about it, where it's from, blah 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 blah. So that was sort of one of the key ideas, and that sort of led to a discussion about, well, how, whether we would do that based on scanning cards in using existing next-gen cameras, or put RFID chips in the cards themselves, whether they would coexist with power discs, whether we would have the option to, once it's loaded, we don't have to actually use the reader anymore, but it's there if you want to, but you don't have to. You can use an in-game switching system. And so we're about to move on just to some more sort of drilling down to the accessories, since we've already had a brief discussion, a good discussion about the play sets, about what kind of different accessories we would like to see, regardless of what delivery it comes, whether it's a disc or a card. What are the different types of accessories that we either would like to see improved and or maybe new additions?
yeah. May I interject an idea that kind of goes along with that?
Go ahead.
So we discussed a couple episodes ago, about the leveling up or kind of RPG aspects of Disney Infinity, and one idea of something that you could level up is powers or abilities, and that's something right now that's kind of reserved for Power Disc. So there's definitely a conflict there. What if there was an RPG system that had kind of these abilities? Well, that leaves a space open for these cards. What could you use in their place? One idea I kind of like that could have interesting value to me is cosmetic items, things that different hats, or say a Mickey Mouse ear that could work on any character, but something that's generic, that's not a themed item like a Christmas tree outfit or a Christmas outfit, but these kind of accessories that don't necessarily affect gameplay, but they're cool little collectibles. They're things that you may want to throw down on your character just because they look cool, and it's okay if you take off the card and they don't stay on that character, because it's an accessory you're literally putting on your character.
Yeah. I just had a brilliant idea, and this is gonna get you talking. Don't worry. Don't worry about this 1 hour thing. We'll be right from now on. Two things. One, I think you should give an explanation of the Titanfall burn card system and how maybe you could have come up based on, because I mean I've briefly had an explanation from a live stream I watched with you, but maybe you could maybe on the fly come up with a system, a similar type system that could be applied to Disney Infinity. So I'll let you think about that for a second while I continue my thought. Um, it's coming to mind that, and I've never done it. It's been some years, probably 2 or 3 years since I've been to a Disney park, but they've got an in-park card system currently, don't they? It's an AR. Is that the right term for it?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
they've got, you're putting the cards on things like those should totally be usable in Disney Infinity. And I really like that idea of you having a deck of cards that you can scan during your game, and it's like literally like burning, using maybe, so every card can only be used once through each play session or something like that. You just hold it up to the camera and it'll scan it and insert that item, but then once it's gone, it's gone. It might be a health boost or something, but let's hear from you, the man who's been playing Endless Titanfall, and hear how they're using their in-game card system. Now, it's obviously not a physical system,
Mm-hmm.
but how are they using their in-game card system, and can you think of a way that might be maybe Disney Infinity could do a similar type thing? Because of what I saw of it, it looked cool. It looked like it had that card collecting obsessiveness that
Mm-hmm.
card collecting brings. So let's
Yeah.
hear from
Well,
Titanfall.
I think that's an awesome question and an awesome idea. I love the idea. First, let me Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Papa Echo is saying in the chat room, that's the name of that card game. I
FYI, I really want those cards.
So if anyone's listening and has an extra full set, send them Jason's way.
Dude, seriously, like, I want. Do you buy those in packets or what? Do you get like packets at the
I think you get them for
parks or
free. I don't know. Disney.
Steve C? Is it at Disneyland or just Disney World?
I think it's a Disney World. I think it's only at Disney World.
So Steve C can't help me.
Pirate might be able to. Anyway,
Move on.
so that's awesome, Jason. Let me just say how that could be used, and it could be used in a easy to develop way for Avalanche. So you have these cards, but say they do generic boosts, like you said, a generic health boost that you can get the same health boost by 10 different cards or certain power disc, but it's temporary. But what if you scan that card, then you have a digital version of that card, and even though the ability has been consumed, you have like this virtual, again going back to that kind of virtual toy store feel, and that virtual toy feel, you have like this book that you can open up in game, and just as a way to digitally capture those collections.
Yeah.
And you could like go through them, flip through them, you could flip them over, and so that's a way that you could get digital, and then that also kind of plays into this burn card idea. So for those that have been watching me on Twitch, Jason, I've been obsessed with playing a lot of Titanfall, which is a very different game than Disney Infinity. It's a first-person shooter, but they are doing something very unique, and you can definitely tell it's kind of it's a trend these days, having some sort of virtual trading card aspect. The other one that comes to mind is the actual virtual card game called Hearthstone, which takes place in the World of Warcraft universe, or the Warcraft universe. But Titanfall has these temporary cards, and they're virtual trading cards. They look like trading cards. They even have like a little quote at the bottom that someone in the canon says. But they are temporary buffs that you can get, and they give you a range of items. They give you disappear off of radar. It gives you a more powerful weapon. It gives you double experience. So these buffs that are temporary, and the second you die, you lose them. So that's the cool part, because it makes you look at this deck of cards that you earn, and you earn the cards by doing just different random things. So you earn the cards from getting certain types of kills or performing certain challenges, and you can only choose three per match. So it makes you actually make decisions on your deck, what cards you have, and when you may want to use certain cards. So how could Disney Infinity use that? Well, just like these Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom cards, you could unlock virtual cards and play sets. And I say play sets because it needs to be something that you can use specifically for not a story, but you need some sort of direction to guide you. And I feel like if you use it in the toy box, it's just so open ended. What would I mean? I guess there is health buffs, but what if you were, say you're doing the Toy Story playset, you could unlock a virtual card that is this super special, like Buzz ray gun or something, and it's specific to that toy box. It gives you another incentive to go back in the toy box and collect cards. Um, so I don't. Yeah, I love that idea, and you can unlock these cards by doing challenges in the toy box, and we already, or not in the toy box, in the play sets, and we already have challenges built in there. So if you get uh, a gold medal on a challenge, you unlock three. You
Yeah,
unlock two cards and a rare. If you
yeah.
unlock silver, you just get two commons or something like that.
That's just amazing game. Like that's just, and we've already discussed the ability to unlock. Like if you could unlock textures and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And the key is to really link these things so that for instance, just an example we've used before, like you unlock a card that's going to unlock the Haunted Mansion wallpaper texture. You really want some information on the mansion and stuff on that particular card, so that you can see anyone who's not a super Disney fan, so to speak, and say, well, here's the attraction. Here's a photo of the attraction that that this wallpaper's from, and let's have the story of the wallpaper on the back. Who was the original Disney artist who created it? Bang, your scanner, unlock it. That's truly amazing. And if I can just interject, you totally inspired me before when you said the digital album. Imagine these epic, like, I've mentioned it again last week's show, but the coolest cards when you were a kid and you bought Marvel cards or whatever was you getting the hologram cards, the Spider-Man cards or whatever. I'd love to see cool cards that they're almost like animated GIFs, like the new effect on the iOS 7 where you got that slight shift.
Yeah, parallax.
That'd be amazing if you like pull a card out and you're rotating, but as you're rotating it, you can see that it's got this slight, 3D shift effect, and that's, could be all the rare cards, or maybe some cards have sound effects built into them, type thing. But I mean, the world's endless possibilities when you've got a digital card.
Yeah, and this digital card, it to me it plays into the reason I'm digging this trend right now is because, like Disney Infinity, I love the fact that you have something tangible to hold, and this is a collectible, and sometimes it's just kind of cool to replicate that feeling in digital form. Um, Center Customs brought up an awesome idea, because if you keep it virtual only, it's not going to eat into anything else. It's not going to eat into Power Disc or character sales. But he's bringing up the idea: how cool would it be if you could trade these cards in game virtually, and you could actually have this virtual trading system to kind of uh, build up the community that already exists. I mean, obviously we have such an amazing community, but it provides another reason for people to play together
Yeah.
and exchange these ideas and items.
And that ties in back to ages ago when we were first sort of discussing next gen discussion, when I was talking about the ability to put cards, to hide cards in your toy boxes for people to find. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea as kind of a reward.
Exactly. Have it like, yeah, you could hide certain cards in your toy box, and I don't know, maybe there's a limit to that. Maybe like every card could be assigned, like you've got up to 20 of each card to give away to your friends or hide in a toy box for collection type thing. You know what I mean? That'd make this awesome like treasure hunt frenzy. for
Yeah.
Disney Infinity
Yeah.
players, where each week there'd be all these new toy boxes, and there'd be a list of like, you can find this card, and there's only so many to find of this card in my toy box. You have all these people playing your toy box trying to find, that card, and it's exhausted. That's really cool. And I don't see a problem with having both. Like maybe there's 300 cards in the digital set, but there's another 50 or so that you can only collect in the physical form. So there's a physical cards you have to buy, but there's only 50 in that set, if you know what I mean. It gets scanned in, so to
Mhm.
speak.
It could also be a way to reward toy box winners too, is you could have like toy box rare cards and
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, top five winner only exclusive cards. That's a great idea. I
mhm.
mean that's essentially what it needs. I mean you want to be able to wear the golden Mickey ears, and when people see you playing or whatever, it's like there's a prestige that comes along. There's only that. There's very obviously very few people that have that honor.
Yep, yep, I completely agree. And
And
if
as
you're
we've
someone,
discussed, they're already shipping cards
mhm,
with the figures themselves anyway. So
yeah, I
that's
love
cool.
it. Just an FYI, a PSA for you, Jason. Papa Echo says he has extra cards he would gladly trade for Vegemite. Travis is
Dude,
trying
like
to convince him not to because
that is a
Vegemite's bad.
that is a deal. I can go to Macca's and
No, no, you got to get like a family-sized jar.
oh, dude, yeah, we got a big jar. Don't worry about that. Probably cost me
Oh,
$500 to ship to the States, but anyways,
yeah.
what was I
I
gonna say?
I love
Go on.
this idea though of the virtual trading cards. That's awesome.
I think I totally agree. It's like nothing. I think nothing keeps something fresh like that than collectibles, and like it's super cheap for Disney. I mean, how much can it really cost to get a ton of artists to whip up another,
Mm,
50 cards for their game and go, look, we're releasing Series 3 of these cards or whatever, and they
yeah,
cost next to nothing to produce, and they'll just mean the world for,
yeah.
us Disney fans and so on.
Well, and again, it doesn't mean there's a lot more development time required for the game either, as far as assets go, because they could even be recycled if that's the only option, and it
Yeah,
still provides something. But for some of us, like kind of what I'm thinking, you and I, Jason, is that the um, collectible digital card is really what would drive us.
yeah. I mean, I mean, I'm a collector, and just the idea of having a game that I can collect toys
Hmm.
and
And
cards
cards.
for such a varied, I mean, there's nothing stopping them bringing out, like, well, obviously we've got Maleficent coming out very soon, which I'm super excited
Hmm.
about. Release 10 cards alongside that film, and like everyone that goes and see Maleficent, you get a physical card to unlock whatever in the game, and then another 5 digital versions of that you can redeem with your movie ticket or something, and just it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
I
and
love
then,
it.
as you said, like to be able to trade those online, that'd be super cool.
Hmm.
Very
Yeah,
cool, and just I mean, that just nothing builds community like when you've got something to trade and collect together.
yeah. Sinner Custom says, "Heck, charge $1 per card. We are Disney freaks. We buy anything Disney at any price."
Not wrong, not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, we probably shouldn't say that because we don't want to inspire more monetization. But
But they are
hey,
not wrong. They could put digital boosters on the PSN store, and I could not stop buying. They could be blind boosters and only getting 10 cards, but
for Disney stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
that would I would pay it. I would regret it, but I would pay it. Particularly if, as I said, there was a cool way to display it. Um, I think that's why there'd have to be a strong case for rarity because you want that excitement. You don't want it to
Mhm.
be, there's nothing that rare about the power discs. You'd want something that if you get a real rare, you feel like you're getting something of real value.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, back on to, I mean, that's a great diversion. I completely agree with that. But is there anything accessories-wise that you think's missing? Like the only thing I could think of is I wouldn't mind. I'd like them to produce. I was thinking about this because something unique in Disney Infinity is there's a particular like a mountain or something, and it's kind of the same, but it can look completely different with different textures put on it. But I wonder if there's a place for more specific trees or something, if you know what I mean. If you get like a tree pack that has more diverse, I don't know, palm trees or something, like a pirate themed tree accessory pack or something like that, you know what I mean?
I'm going to respectfully disagree. Um,
Really?
Only because I don't, it's not necessarily a bad idea, but in order for that to be appealing to me, I think they need to catalog foliage a little better in the toy box because there's so much that you have to go through as it is to find certain ones, and then to top it all off, there's certain themed trees and stuff that you can change, and it's a pain having to cycle
Oh,
through
definitely.
those.
I'd absolutely agree. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely. If there was more accessories, it'd have to be a far better system for actually accessing that content.
Mm.
There's no doubt about that, I guess.
But if your point is Power Disk can include more than simply packs or tools and or
That's what
texture
I'm
based
asking. Is there any
items.
sort of accessories you can think of that aren't really being covered at the moment outside of your weapons? And it's pretty much is it pretty much exclusively weapons and vehicles? I'm thinking at the moment, accessories wise.
And packs technically, which a lot of times are
Yes.
weapons.
Yeah. So I guess I really, when I'm thinking in again real world toy terms, I guess the only other thing is landscape type stuff. I guess.
Yeah, I
Um,
kind of feel like we're outside of cosmetic stuff. I don't. I personally, I can't really think of any other things we're missing. That because we also have. Yeah, I don't know. I almost said something that isn't a power disk. I almost said the Halloween gate, and that's not a power disk. That's an unlock through a character. So
yeah, but that is an accessory, and as I said, that's the kind of thing that I see. Things like just more generic things. Like, I mean, it'd be cool to have like the that's completely random, but like the witch's pot out of that Donald Duck short, that Halloween Donald
mm,
Duck short. You know what I mean? Stuff like
yeah,
that would be kind of cool, and that's very much accessory type, and just things like if we do eventually get a track system to be able to unlock different train type vehicles and stuff to put
yeah,
on those sorts of things, so they're not exactly necessarily rideable vehicles, but vehicles that are accessory typed
yeah.
things.
Well, you can even take that another step and change the type of track. So,
Mm,
is it themed like a roller coaster? Is it themed like a train track? Um, or is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
But no, that was
well,
that was good
yeah.
stuff. I think we hit on a winner there, Disney. You can just take that one. All rights reserved. Off you go, and we look forward to
Virtual
spending hundreds of dollars on virtual cards.
virtual cards. That's all we're asking for. It's not too much, is it?
No, so we better move on to our topic of the week, which is how to teach people actually how to use this newfangled toy box.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's
Go
been a
on.
while since I've gone through the toy box tutorial, and I can't repeat it at the moment, but the thing I remember the most is that yes, it gave me a general idea of what to do, but when you get into the toy box, the trouble that a lot of people have, and the reason we see so many tutorial videos are these creativa toys. Um,
Yeah.
and to me, I feel like that's where the most hand-holding needs, and I'm sure accomplished toy box artists might disagree with me because they've uh, become so accustomed to using them now. But I mean, I've been playing the game since launch, and there's still ones where I have to play around quite a bit to just figure out what it does. So, do you have any ideas? I mean, first off, do you agree with that, or do you see some other sticking points that really need help as far as again tutorial?
Yeah, well, because I think they were called master classes or master builders or something like that, wasn't it? In the
Master adventure or mastery adventures.
yeah, and I think what they did there was definitely effective, but it just wasn't exhaustive enough. As you said, I mean, it really taught the absolute basics as far as just at least how to pull out the wand, blah blah blah. You know, how to place something, which is fine. But yeah, there was literally, I mean, there wasn't even any in-game manual or documentation on how to use the creativity toys. Really, was there?
No. Mm-mm.
No, like literally nothing. So I mean, it's not hard to improve when you've got nothing. So
Yeah.
that's that's a positive.
Well, Papa Echo in the chat room is saying one of the best tutorials, in his opinion, is trying to accomplish all the feats in the game. He says he built something specifically to handle each one, and that's how he kind of learned the ins and outs. And that's a great suggestion and idea. But Papa, you came up with that on your own, and I commend you for that. But it's not what we're lacking is something to guide you. Uh, I think the idea that I kind of came up with, the very first thing, and I feel like it's the easiest, is provide a brief description of the Creativitoy. The names themselves are descriptive, but I feel like they did best they could in a single word or a few words. Uh, but I mean, just having like a short little paragraph of what it does, I think would be helpful. But then after that, so Jason, we discussed last week, I think it was, on last week's show, I talked a little bit about Project Spark and how I've been playing it. It had a phenomenal tutorial that I feel like Disney Infinity could really follow, and that's the suggestion I'm going to make now, is that for the tool, for all of the Creativa toys, you have tool tips. So you have something when you have whatever highlighted, something to pop up that says, this can be used this way. So let me walk you through a scenario. I laid down a trigger, or no. Let's start even before that. I put down a door. So I put down a door. A tooltip comes up that says you can program this door to do certain actions. Let's try that now. So and it could come up. The let's try part can come up the first time you've laid down a specific type of toy that has programming built into it, or logic built into it. So it says, okay, what happens, and then it asks you what happens when you open a door. How about you put down a enemy spawner? And so you put down an enemy spawner. It's like, okay, now connect the door opening to this enemy spawner. So you do that. So the point is it walks you through each step of what the Creativa toy does, and that way you learn it as you kind of apply it, and you can't really get confused and you can't forget, because it's teaching you a scenario to actually learn the item. But then after the fact, it's like you can. So once you've done that, next time you put down a door, it says you can program this door to trigger certain items upon opening and or closing. So yeah, that's kind of my just walk us through the Creativa toys.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the key. You just need an always accessible demo, whether that's an actual, I mean, yeah, obviously the most ideal is, as you said, an actual, let's walk you through it so you're actually doing it. I'll, through voiceover or text, here's the step one, here's step two, now you actually accomplish these steps. That's by far the best method, but I'd also be happy with just an embedded video. Just an
Mm.
embedded video explaining the process so that you can just watch that. At any time, just hit the information icon, and here's a nice little video explaining the process of doing it.
Actually, that's a great point. Put a little eye next to these Creativa toys, and that maybe that's where the description's at. And then if you want, you can play a video from whatever screen that pops up.
Yeah.
Uh, Travis is mentioning that the play sets, when you first do things in the play sets for the first time, there is a narrator sometimes, and it does actually walk you through step by step in every new play set you do, including getting blue capsules, and so implementing something like that, like you said, even having a narrator.
I think the next step is, though, beyond that. Like, that's challenge one. How do I even use this thing? But step
Mhm.
two is what do I use it for? Like, it's not obviously like, I could say here's a light switch, right? It goes forward and it goes back, but there should be some explanation too. Here's some examples of what possibly you could use this particular switch for. So I think that's also just as important, because you've got to inspire um, the people to go, oh, that's a really cool idea. I could make this game using that mechanic. You know what I mean? Because most of those creativity toys have many, almost infinite uses, depending on how you either combine them together or, how you use. I mean, some of them may have some of them may have multiple users in the one actual toy.
I like that idea. I don't know how it could be implemented, but
Well, again, it's
something.
tough because it's Disney, right? If it
Mhm.
wasn't Disney, like if let's just cross the term Disney out, I think it'd be really cool if they actually built in an in-engine, in-game, basically like YouTube crawler where people could tag their YouTube videos with the Creativitoy or whatever, and then so you can actually search in-game, like show me some levels that people have created, either tutorials or levels that people have created using this Creativitoy, and be able to explore that wealth of information on that particular toy and see potentially endless examples of how people have actually used that.
Well, and with this next gen, assuming Disney Infinity 2 is coming on next gen, well, we know it has to. And unfortunately, it's specific only to next gen, but the ability to record gameplay and narrate it is on both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So it would make that process really easy. And in fact, that is one of the things I'm looking forward to most, is to watch the community kind of bloom with Disney Infinity 2 on these next gen consoles with
And
that.
even if Disney had to submit your video to Disney and they can like pre-vet it and go, yeah, look, this is a really good, use of this Creativitoy. Let's include it in the in-game video tutorial section. And obviously, I know people always kick up a stink. It's like, well, not everyone's online. But I'm like, well, if you're not online, you're not going to be submitting toy boxes anyway, really. So you're probably not going to be that stressed about it. So, but just because everyone can't gain access to it, I don't think it's a good enough reason not to at least have that option there.
Hmm. I dig it.
So the other way I thought of it, I've mentioned this before. I'm not sure if I mentioned on this show before, but I have mentioned it before. Is as a programmer myself, I find it incredibly handy. Like I find some of the best ways to understand a new method or how something works is actually to bug test it. And I actually thought there's a possibility for sort of a mini game type system where you can create simple scenarios that it's not working for some reason, and the challenge is to work out what Creativitoy is broken, like what's the
Mm,
missing link that's preventing this scenario from working type thing, and like that's a really good way of because once you work something like that out yourself, it tends to stick a lot
yeah.
more rather than someone just telling you how to do it. But if you actually work out how to solve what the issue was, then you're going to much more likely to remember, oh, that's right, I know how to, oh, if that ball's not firing, that's clearly this isn't something's not linked up to the trigger or something like that. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
little challenges like that, and you could do that on a very simple, almost iPad level, where it's like I think it's even bought by Disney. There's like that. I can't think what's called Crazy Machines or something like that, but they could just have a series of icons that represent um, the Creativitoys, and you just literally have to go, what do I need to link up here in order for
Mm.
this ball to fire or this,
That's a great idea. And I would imagine you would also kind of learn a lot about other creative toys that are being used in that, because you kind of had to understand the big picture to solve the
Yeah.
minutia problem.
And I guess the other side of that too is it'd be really cool if there was like almost like a behind the scenes mode that if you download someone's toy box, you go, wow, this is a really
Mm.
cool toy box. If there was some form of like, X-ray mode you could put on that sort of hides all the non-essential elements and you see all the linking paths and all the creativity toys in use and sort of be able to sort of deconstruct or what's the word, reverse engineer how they've actually achieved the effects that they have, that'd be really cool too.
That's actually an awesome idea. It's kind of on topic, kind of not. It would be great in the toy box. We can presume that the ability to make more complicated toy boxes are coming with Disney Infinity 2, it would be great to be able to visually filter out items in the toy box. So, filter out playset pieces, filter out terrain, filter out especially Creativa toys, because I know what a lot of people do for those is if they have a series of things they need to link up, they will link them up and then they'll place them wherever they need to be. But sometimes it's hard to remember what each thing does. So yeah,
And
that'd be
also,
cool.
I just thought, now this would be, I don't know, but I'd have to think about it, but it's probably quite difficult. But it'd be kind of cool to have a debug mode
Hmm.
where you had some form of physical representation, or visual representation, I should say, of how the toys are actually working, if you know what I mean. So it almost goes into slow-mo, and it's like as you walk through a gate, maybe the toy that the creative toy that's being activated glows or something, and then you
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
see a physical signal being sent from that to whoever it's communicating to. You know what I mean? So like you can
Hmm.
actually trace um, what your toys are doing, so it's much easier to determine where your toy box has gone wrong. You'll be able to
Yeah,
much easily determine, oh well, that creativity toy didn't light up, so clearly that's something. The issue I've got is something to do with that particular toy, and that would also help to teach how to
yeah.
use them because you'll be working out where it can misfire and stuff.
That's awesome. I love that idea. That's really really cool.
Debug mode.
Debug mode.
I mean, it probably wouldn't be that difficult. I mean, it's just to really say it's really just you're really creating a separate set of animations for those creativity toys. Really, just more visual feedback of what they're doing and when they're running type thing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's making me think of some game I've played recently that
Even
kind of
a
has.
even like a log on the side there that actually just gives you a textual representation saying that trigger one has activated, trigger two has
Mm,
activated. Just some form
that's a
of
good idea.
just some form of
Just like a
visual
console.
representation, so you can tell is the game broken or is the actual something not working the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but yeah. Bottom line though, you cannot do better than just hands-on tutorials, video form, or best case scenario, say walking you through type tutorials. I think that's by far the best way to teach. Um, but then also say just watching others.
Well, the best part about this and all of these ideas, it's something that they are very aware of, and you can tell this by the introduction of developer tutorials early on in the launch of this game, weekly on YouTube. Developers have personally made videos. Travis in the chat room was talking about Chad Liddell. He has a lot of great, very complicated tutorial videos, and so I think they understand that this is a real need, and it's something I have a feeling they're really going to take their time and try to figure out come come Disney Infinity 2, and make sure we are provided as much of the tools and the understanding of the tools as possible.
Totally. And again, bring out a card system so you can reward those community members that produce training for you.
That's
Like
awesome.
I'd quite happily pump out training videos if you're going to give me exclusive in-game Disney Infinity cards. I'll pump out the tutorials for you. Don't you worry.
You're a sucker for anything collectible.
I totally am.
I'm gonna start like bribing you with collectibles before a show starts when I want you to do something for me.
Cool. Just make up your own card set for me. That's fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Steve C's signs that he always brings. They're gonna be like handwritten and like the Disney cursive. Yeah, specific to
I'd
you.
be totally excited for a signed Steve C collectible card, like mint condition. Like, yeah, that's fine. We can produce that. I'll take a Lloyd one as well. That's all right.
I'll keep that in mind.
As long as I've got a hologram for my card, that's all right.
Well, you deserve it. Everyone's complimenting how your hat matches your blue shirt today. So
I'm very just channeling Donald Duck today. That's all right.
yeah.
Just a quick side note. It's kind of a quick side scoot to the left, and I mentioned it before, but I want to mention it again since we're discussing that community sharing side of things. I still really love the idea, and again, I think you can do this in Little Big Planet, but I really love the idea of the community being able to submit um, not projects, but pre-built stuff for people to download. In programming term, they're called methods or whatever. So someone could
Mm.
build a working, um, or someone build a really good goal that tracks the scores, how many goals are being kicked, and so on like that, and provide that as a download. Or all the really cool 8-bit creations of characters we've been seeing, allow those for people to download, so anyone can download that really cool Ursula design and include it in their own toy boxes. And I
Oh,
think
that's cool.
in turn, I think that creates better toy boxes long term, because the toy box artists out there can be sharing content that would normally take them, they're having to reinvent the wheel every time they build a toy box. If they've got a scoring system, they have to completely build that from scratch. But if you could download a pre-built scoring system or a pre-built, whatever, it's going to cut down your development time. And so increasingly your toy boxes are going to get better and better, because when you've got such a great community like Disney Infinity fans, um, man, if those guys were producing things that everyone could benefit from and just modify, doesn't that sound like it's a way better way to go?
So it's kind of like a macro or a not
That's
necessarily a macro,
yeah, yeah.
but but like a snippet of a template that can be implemented into another toy box.
Maybe template's probably the easiest word for people to understand. But yeah, so the idea is that yeah, you can construct something that could be as highly complex, like when we saw, was it one of the downloadable toy boxes, or someone mentioned that someone created a micro processor or something, or a CPU or something, just to be able to produce something like that and then be able
Hmm.
to download, or like someone produced that clock, build that mechanic, and then anyone can download that. It has one output that you can then link to, say, two blocks, and it'll make those blocks function like a clock.
Yeah.
Those types of things. So you've got these pre-built things that you can amass, and it's a way for, again, Disney to leverage the community to produce, to expand their tool set without actually having for them having to do any work, but the community can service themselves, so to speak.
Well, and a way to inspire that, one thing we've seen, and I actually think this could probably be implemented now, and uh, it could force people, like Papa's idea to complete the feats. It could force people to learn the creativity toys and learn them well. The challenges up to this point have been very thematic. It's been a Disney park theme or Little Mermaid theme or whatever. What if you're like, this week, show us your most creative idea for using the repeater, or the most creative idea, or we want you to accomplish blank by using kill switches and teleporters, or random stuff like that.
That's a really cool idea. That's yeah, that's totally cool. And that's the kind of stuff, for me personally, I think I would be amped to see, because I think that's when you see real creativity, because I mean the tool sets they've given us really are endless possibilities, I guess.
Yes. Sorry, I'm
So
being made fun of in the chat room.
that's all right. That's all right. Let them talk. um, but that's a solid idea, and that would in itself, if you put a challenge to say who can build the best RPG scoring mechanic out of whatever
Hmm.
we've got, you produce that, and then if you release the top five, let's call them plugins, then you say, right, the top
Oh,
five people that produce the best way to track an RPG experience meter or something using these will get, added to the downloadable plugin section of the toy box.
yeah, plugins. I think that is the best term for
Yeah.
it.
I just think that's super cool, because then, like, that's something where instead of if someone spent 45 hours on just a generic toy box, which may or may not get selected or whatever, if you put 40 something hours into just a single mechanic, um, you know, not only is that super cool and you should get credit for that, but you are enabling countless other people to create infinitely better toy boxes.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and so let's look at toy box winners. Toy box winners are a lot of times the ones that do really think outside the box and are use the tools available to them in very creative ways. And although it doesn't level the playing field, it does provide people an opportunity to yeah, just become more familiar. And in the case of the plugins, it would give people specific reasons to accomplish those things.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, as simple as literally as simple as things like even linking the sky changer or whatever to a switch. Like, even if you're not going to share the stuff, it would make sense for me locally to at least be able to save that as a plugin, so I don't have to redo that method because it's not the
Mhm.
quickest thing in the world. It's not like just typing on a keyboard. But if I could just go, well, I'm clearly going to be using this, sky changer switch a lot. So I just want to save that, and I'll name it Sky, or Music Switcher or Sky Switcher. And yeah, but anyway, that was sort of a side note. But I thought that sort of half grouped in with because that's still, again, by downloading those plugins and deconstructing them, you're still getting a greater appreciation and
Mhm.
learning what to do and how to use these creative switches and whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people out there that they've just been too they've been scared off by them. If you frustratingly try to work through a creative toy and you can't figure it out, then you might just give up and never revisit, and that could, you're missing something with that.
Yeah.
So,
And just look at the viral effect of what happened when the first, evidence of the first person doing an 8-bit character using the blocks.
hmm
Like, when is there a week we don't see now a recreation of a character using just the blocks? You know what I mean? I think, from memory, I'm a bit fuzzy, but I feel like the revelation moment was when they released that Nightmare Before Christmas box, and there was all that creative use of blocks to create, outside that thing, and like that's what I'm talking about. If you can demonstrate a really cool use of that item, it's going to virally create. People will
yeah,
pick up on it. They go, I can. That's really cool. I reckon I can put a twist on that, and so on and so on.
I love that. That's a great point.
Which is just going to continually make a freshness and ultimately reduce the amount of time that even the more plugins that are available, the cooler the toy boxes will get with less development time, which means they can
Mhm.
spend more time on polish, more time on design, blah blah blah. So I think
Yeah,
that's really worthwhile.
man, this is awesome.
Well, we
These are,
reached an hour yet again.
these are great ideas. I like turtles is saying that we no, it's time chicken is saying that we've been a little short on time lately, and we should bring back Steve C because that will at least increase it 40 minutes.
I'm happy with an hour, people.
I can only get made fun of, so my skin is only so strong. I can only get made fun of so much. No, I'm just playing, just playing. Well, Jason, I think that was awesome. That was a great discussion on two accounts. We came up with so the takeaways: virtual trading cards implemented pretty much any way you want. It doesn't
A
matter.
must. Otherwise, I'm boycotting.
Or you're done. You're gonna start Disney
If they don't
implemented
do it,
cards.
we'll do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hand drawn,
Yeah.
hand drawn of the cast members.
I do a mean
Uh,
stick figure.
yeah, and then also ways to improve learning in the toy box. And I mean, I think a lot of what we discussed tonight extends far beyond simply tutorials. And there's lots of ways, and we can crowdsource a lot of this, like the devs did with among themselves creating these videos and the YouTube videos each week. But yeah,
Yeah.
crowdsource this teaching to people. I mean, it's said often that things that are being created in the toy box, these a lot of these challenge winners are creating things that they didn't even know was possible, and that's just because you get it into thousands of people's hands who have different perspective, different backgrounds, and they're going to come up with some neat things. And teaching is another way that can
And certainly, I think the holy grail is you got to make it fun. You got to gamify it. Mary Poppins
Mhm.
theology. It's like you just got to. If you can make it fun, then it'll be more entertaining. If it's just bland teaching, then you're probably not going to do it. But if you can gamify it, it'll be a lot more interesting. And that's why I said that little bug finding iPad game or whatever could be a really,
Hmm.
it's fun. Attribute points to it. Get score for how quickly you find the bug or whatever. But the point
Yeah.
is, if you can make it's got to be interesting still. No one wants to sit through 10 hours of
Yeah.
training to produce a toy box, which chances are no one will ever see.
Right. When
So
you
make
think
it
of it
fun.
like that, you got to have faith in yourself. But no, I definitely see what
And
you're saying.
community is key. Like these guys, most of the tie-in toy box artists are part of the Disney Infinity fan forum. They're fueling
Mhm.
each other. It's the community that it gets that feedback, and so that's why I think if you put the training in the hands of the community, I think it's only a matter of time before those superstars come forth.
Yeah.
Uh, because Disney, as far as I would know, weren't even promoting Chad's tutorial videos, which were phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I
So,
think it was spread throughout the community. I know it was posted on Vinylmation Kingdom, Disney Infinity fans. We posted, we've discussed it before, and yeah, and lots of people. There's quite a few people in the chat room that know of those videos, and that's because, like you said, it was
and I
spread.
appreciated them because particularly the one where he did a full game setup, where he did that
Hmm.
gauntlet run game setup. That's what you want in a tutorial. Give me a full package, start to end, detailed description of, and he had best practices in there about the
Hmm.
whole, having a reset switch set up and all those sorts of things. So
No,
commend those videos, and let's hope we get more of that next time round. That the greater community can gain access to easier.
absolutely. All right, Jason. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the Di2 talk this week. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. Next week we are moving on to what was it? The track types. I believe it was
I
definitive list of vehicle types and track types that we'd like to see.
Yes, yes.
So we're going to
And
talk detail on that.
so if you would like to send in your thoughts on anything we discussed either tonight or a past episode, or if you want to comment on track types comprehensively, please feel free to do so. You can reach out to Jason and I via Twitter, or you can send an email to info@InsideDisneyInfinity.com, and we get that, and we will mention it live on the show. You too can be immortalized on internet. Uh, Yes. So I do have to correct Jason, though. We are not going to
Yes.
be discussing that next week. We are going to be discussing that next episode. So let me explain, everyone. We are going to take a short hiatus, a 2-week hiatus. I know that's kind of a long time. We have yet to, I don't even know if you realize this, Jason, but we have yet to miss a week since the very first week we started doing Disney Infinity. So we have been recording for 35 weeks straight, not always on a Monday, but mostly on a Monday. The reason for that is the reason I'm orange tonight and look like an Oompa Loompa is because I am getting ready for my wedding, and so I will be out of town for the next 2 Mondays. Jason is going to continue to do his toy box rundowns each week, so there's still some content. Check that out at youtube.com/Disney Infinity TV. And but we don't want to leave you all hanging for 2 weeks with nothing to do but play Disney Infinity. We want to excite you for our return. So first off, we are going to tease something. We are working on a couple fun interviews that will be coming in the relatively near future. We don't have a date on those yet. I can't speak on who it will involve, but it will be involving some interviews that we are hoping to get. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll definitely talk about that prior to the release of those interviews. But in order to get people excited, we don't want people to lose interest over the next 2 weeks of Jason and I not being here. So we want you to be thinking, finally, in 2 weeks. So what is the date on that? I need to look that up. So it's going to be 2 Mondays from now. That is going to be April 7th. We are finally going to have the long-awaited Star Wars episode. So I know this is one that has been hotly anticipated, and there's lots of people with lots of things to say. So if you want to tell us anything about Star Wars, what would you like to see Disney Infinity Star Wars? Would you like to see a standalone game that is built off of Disney Infinity like we've discussed in the past? If you want a trilogy or a I don't know what a sextilogy is. I don't know what that word is. Of Star Wars themed play sets. Let us know. Give us your ideas. That is going to be an awesome, fun show, and we can't wait to do that. And I know it's one that a lot of people have been clamoring for. So if you want to reach out to us and give us your ideas, again, that's info at Inside Disney Infinity. And that will be happening in 2 weeks. I think technically 2.5 weeks because it's 2 Mondays from now, April 7th. I don't know about you, Jason, but I'm excited. I'm excited not only for my wedding, but I'm also excited for Star Wars Disney Infinity Talk.
Technically, I'm a Star Trek guy, but I'll be excited for Star Wars. That's all right.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
I don't get it. I mean, I dig them both, but yeah.
It's funny actually because I was a DC guy, and Disney bought Marvel, and I'm a Star Trek guy, and they bought Star Wars. So they're clearly against me. There's a fight going on here that I'm not aware of, just to spite me. But anyway,
Oh,
so I'll switch. I'll become a Marvel fan. I'll become a Star Wars fan. That's fine.
well, you have to because you're a Disney fan, and
Well,
they
that's it.
now
They've
own both.
forced my hand. I have to buy the cards.
Yeah, if it has trading cards, you are sold. So, but I must say this: we aren't going to do a show, but I am. It's not my honeymoon, but we are spending a few days. I know Jason's gonna be jealous, but we are spending a few days in Walt Disney World, and I'm actually going to meet the one and only Pirate Steve while I'm there. So I can't wait for that. That's gonna be cool. See, I have a feeling he's gonna be just as funny in person, but I just gotta wonder if like his face is forever gonna be frozen like that. One
When
eyebrow.
I go at the end of the year, I haven't told him I'm just going to put a beanbag or a sleeping bag on his front porch, wherever that is. I'll just hunt him down and like skipping the luxury resort and just going straight for his front lawn.
I think you absolutely should.
Set up tent. That'll be all right.
Maybe he can finally teach you how to build a winning toy box when that happens.
He better lock down all his collectibles too, because I might end up taking those.
Awesome. Well, listen, everyone. We want to thank everyone who came out and joined us tonight in the chat room. I want to say hello to I Like Turtles, It's Time Chicken, Papa Echo, Travesty, Tie Force, and we also had Sinner Customs was there early. So if you want to join us each week, make sure you do each week except for the next two. InsideDisneyInfinity.com, Monday evenings, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. If you want to check out any of the people we have discussed or websites we've discussed, make sure you check them out on the sidebar. We have links to Vinylmation Kingdom and Disney Infinity Fans, as well as our neighboring video game podcast website, vgpodcast.com. And you can find all the links to that. If you like the show and you listen to us on iTunes, feel free to give us a review. This is our review plug. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do that. And if you don't listen to iTunes, then you can find us on Stitcher Radio at any one of your mobile devices. Jason, this was an awesome show. I was bummed we couldn't get Travis in here, but he was busy taking screen caps. He was busy taking screen caps, and he even took one of you, which is epic, Jason. I can't wait for you to see that.
I'm excited.
It's not making fun of your shiny head, so.
It's covered today, so you can't make fun of it. There you go.
Awesome. Well, Jason, my friend, I know you're going to hold down the fort. You're going to do those toy boxes, and that will give everyone something to listen to and watch until we come back. So, all right, folks. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. And until next time, we hope your week is filled with infinite possibilities. And we're done, and that's Jason taking off his hat. Is your hat hot?
It's hot.
Oh man, I actually really dig Star Trek too. I in recent years, the movies got me interested in it, but in recent years, I've gone back and watched the classics.
Yeah, I'm probably sort of equal, I guess. I mean, is anyone really a fan of those new three Star Wars films? So, I mean, the new Star Trek films go rings around the new Star Wars ones. So, high hopes for the next ones, though.
Yep, yep. All right, buddy. Well, listen, everyone in the chat room again. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're still live, so I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast so we can get the post production all started and stuff. So we will see you back in 2 weeks, April 7th. Can't wait to see you all again. And until then, yeah, we hope you have a great couple weeks.